Welcome to Jamaica, the island of real bad man. Some real dog at you, some real gang bang. No run for the fair, the not garbage pan. Welcome to Jamaica, the island of real bad man. Some real dog at you, some real gang bang. No run for the fair, the not garbage pan. Step up! These are the moments when everybody gun loaded. We not instigate violence, but we believe in the self-defense no matter what. These are the moments when every gangster gun loaded. We not instigate violence, but we believe in the self-defense. Welcome to True Island Stories. Today we're going to talk about a very important topic, and I think many of us forget our history, our black history. And as I said, and I continue to say that if we know not where we are coming from, if we choose to neglect our history or ignore our history, then we are a lost flock going forward, because our history substantiates and navigates our future. Now, if you learn and understand what our ancestors went through, the horror, 400 years of terror, then maybe, just maybe, you will learn to accept what you are now privileged to enjoy, which is your freedom in every form. Now, we're going to talk about the peonage system, Peonage. And it was a terrible time in the time of blacks. And it came after the emancipation period, after 1865, when blacks were allegedly or supposedly freed when slavery was abolished, because slavery was abolished in 1865. So we were free people. Far from it. We were persecuted. We were put to the sword. And it's one thing when you know you're a slave, but it's another thing to have the perception that you're a free man or a free woman, and you're being persecuted for that freedom. Put to the gallows, burned at the stake, treated like a chattel, a horse. Even white men who had even 1% black were deemed black. It was a nightmare on Helm Street. But I'm going to explain to you, and I want you to listen keenly. And I ask, these videos get the least amount of views, and it's very disappointing. But I will keep doing them, and I want you to share, because if we can get our youths, even some of our adults, understand the importance of our history, then maybe we can open their eyes, we can remove the veil from their eyes and help them become wiser and navigate the violent traffic that clog their highway in life going forward. Now, in 1866, there was an amendment. Up to 1870, there was an amendment to the laws, and they call it the Reconstruction Laws, aka Radical Reconstruction. And it was passed in favor of blacks, so where we could vote, get to go into politics, serve on certain important boards. We could become judges, create our first free public school. But get this, most of the 8 million whites in the deep south, and when I say deep south, I'm talking Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, Georgia, and so forth, that never sit right with them because they never owned slaves, so they had to work. So now, because blacks were freed and were given rights, they felt threatened, because now blacks were able to own guns, and blacks took their jobs. Some of the jobs that they weren't doing in the first place, but now all of a sudden blacks took their jobs. How ironic. So They became envious, grudgeful, and fostered hate, dire hate. And they formed vigilante groups backed by none other than President Andrew Johnson, who succeeded President Lincoln after he was murdered. And some say Andrew Johnson, he had a couple of fingers, maybe two hands, I don't know, in his murder. But that investigation never came to fruition. So, under his regime, they started attacking blacks. And his first order of business was to end Reconstruction, state by state, county after county, passing egregious laws, making it a crime for blacks to walk beside a railroad. Imagine now, you can't walk beside a railroad. A crime for blacks to speak loudly in the company of a white woman. A crime to sell your produce after dark. A crime to spit in public or lighter in public spaces. And that all of those offenses led to confinement. And then there was the pig laws, which was the harshest laws in Florida, which is a part of the Deep South, of course. Mississippi, Alabama. The theft of a pig, which was once a misdemeanor, or the theft of a fence post, which was once a misdemeanor. A theft of a pig worth $1 under Andrew Johnson's regime and the new laws. That was now 5 years in jail. Ooh. In every southern state, you went to jail if you couldn't prove you were employed. And those were called the vagrancy laws. All this was after slavery. Young men, this was the crucifix back then. Now you are unshackled. Make use of your freedom and your life. Look at the pictures in these videos. These are real. These are not make-believe. When you're in your cell, you're shackled. When you're in your cell, you know you're there for a reason. Well, some men are imprisoned innocently. But for those who commit crime, at least you know you are there for a mens rea. Mens rea means the guilty state of mind which made you commit the crime. You did it malice aforethought. That means you premeditated the murder before you actually committed it. So at least you have a guilty conscience. You say, okay, I'm here because I did it. If you didn't do it and you were there, then you are fighting an appeal. That means you have a mindset to escape someday. You have a window of hope. In slavery, there was no hope, just dread and horror. In the 13th Amendment, it stated that slavery is abolished, except for punishment of a crime. Oh, they had their wiggle room, didn't they? So, guess what they did? They used prisoners as a source of profit under convict leasing. And now that opened a door for a whole new wave of revenue, building wealth. Wealth that stand to this day that whites are benefiting from off the backs of, I can't even say free, supposedly free black labor. Yes. So when you talk about generational wealth, why we can't build generational wealth as black people? Because they took all the lands. They took all the business. And when we tried, they came and shut it down. They did everything to authorize our progress as human beings. Because in their eyes, through their pupils, through their retinas, we weren't seen as such. We were the bottom of the food chain. Even their pet dogs had more value than us blacks. And it still plays a huge mental part in our day-to-day lives. Medically, we as a people, the ethnic minority, we suffer the most disease. And that has been coming down through generation because of what we had to eat. We had the worst of everything. The salted foods, the oversweet foods. And because it was the worst, we had to put in more salt or more sugar for it to have any taste. So hence, the high blood pressure, the hypertension, kidney disease, which it led to, and all manner of ill health. And then guess what? It became hereditary. It was genetically passed down through the generational gaps. So then we started using prisoners as a source of income, and that became the peonage system. Well, the whole system, after the Reconstruction laws, they took it down. That became the peonage system, the terror. Because what they did, in a synopsis, let me explain it. Say you was walking down the road. Imagine, you come out your house, your mom sent you to the store to get some candies. Or you're going to get some candies for your daughter. And a white man come in front of you. Hey, John. Hey, how you doing, Mr. Winner? Hey, you owe me some money from back then. Did you have to pay me? I owe you nothing, master. I don't owe you nothing. When would I owe you something? I owe you. Yes, sir, Bob. You owe me 5 shillings and you never paid me from you took my cows back then and you sold it to the. I don't owe you nothing. And then boom, 5, 6 men just tie you up, restrain you from your liberty, and take you in front of a court. Now, in that court system, there are cousins. The cousin is the prosecutor. The bailiff is the cousin of the next man. The prosecutor is the cousin of the judge. You lose from the moment you were stopped. Now, what they do, they find you guilty. Then, the sentencing is in favor of the one who apprehended you and said that you owed him. And then they send you they give him permission to lease you to some other plantation owner for a year, 2 years, however long. And that 2 year never end. It never end. It never ends. So that person that stops you keep collecting money, you become a rental property. And it was a common practice throughout the South. Common practice. Then there was another practice where the industrial community started going up. The industrial business started going up. Railroads, you name it. Cars, trucks, buildings, prisons started flourishing. So guess what they did now? When the industry started booming, they realized, look, okay, we can use prisoners and use those labor and build up the system. And guess what kind of labor? Black labor. So now, them start take away kids, women, men. They had no special preference. Anything they catch, boom, prison. And the conditions were horrendous. The conditions were horrendous, okay? Imagine you walking, doing nothing, and somebody just stop you and tell a lie on you and just take you to prison. No liar, nothing. No, you get up 3 a.m. in the morning. You walk 3 miles to the coal mine. The coal mine is underground. So you walk 3 miles underground. Darkness in water, stinking, acidic, gassy water. Sometimes even 1/10 of the crew die per day. But no worries, they just keep replenishing that because the labor was free and men were like cows, animals. Easily replaceable, dispensable. Long days. Sometimes the conditions were filthy and they had to live it. Sometimes the mines cave in with them underneath there. Explosion. Sometimes they had to drink the water, defecate where they were. Now imagine a day, and it's not like you have toilet tissue. There's no deodorant. I'm painting a vivid picture, Imagine you play football. You play scrimmage, football, soccer, or any kind of sport, and you go in a locker room, or it smell. Now, imagine 200 man or 300 people, 500 in one area. 400 go take a dump and don't wipe the mask good. Don't wash them and there's no soap. No deodorant. No proper shower. Everybody boxed in. Malaria, disease. This was how we were treated as a people under the peonage system. Of course, it was eventually investigated. And the Comores, they were slave owners. Now they managed the prisoners and they were ruthless. When they were beating prisoners with the 10-prong whips. At the end, the whips, cat and nine, them call it 9-prong, 10-prong. It lift flesh One whip, lift 10 flesh. Beat men till them just collapse and dead where them stand. Oh, the evil that men do. Now, I'm going to read a little excerpt, and it came from the Milwaukee Independent. I have to give them their credit, and it was posted by Conversation on July 3rd by the BLM MKE Syndicate. It was authors are Miss Kathy Roberts Ford, Chair, Associate Professor of Journalism Department of University of Massachusetts, and Brian Bowman, undergraduate journalism major. So you can check out their work. I'm sure they have a lot more work. So I'm just spreading their work and thank them to, bring to light so we can further their work. I cannot claim what is not mine. But it's stated we have come to the end of part 1. Join us for part 2 coming soon, where we give you an overall synopsis on the Peonage system. It's terrible as we bring light to our generation of what transpired back then. Please like and share, because these topics are important, very important. Share it in your WhatsApp, your Facebook, and we have so much more to bring to you, but we only can bring it to you in spurts. And remember to support our channel. If you like our work that we bring to you, the True Island Stories community, you can support us by Cash App, Storeman Can, $ Storeman Can, or PayPal at True Island Stories. You can purchase something off the merch store if you choose. Everything is really appreciated. As we plan our next project, our charitable event, I'll let you know, but I have something in the works. Because our community is not just for self, and we focus on mental health and youth. So until next time, if you choose to pick up the gun or the knife, then there's a chance you might end up in True Island Stories. What will you choose? I hear you feel. Question: what will you choose? Lego the gonna come on TIS News. What will you choose? Cry peace or dead in the field. What will you choose? Lego the gonna come on CVM News. What will you choose? Choose, lose, lose.